Welcome back to High, Wide, and Handsome, a racing podcast right here on the Arson Brothers Network. We've been going in the pits. We've been in the pits for a while. Sometimes you get stuck down in there. But we're out, and we're back, and we're better than ever. The whole gang's here. As you may know, I'm Matt Klein, lifelong racing fan. I've done a little bit of racing. I currently do a little bit of virtual racing, but yeah, lifelong fan of really everything, but certainly NASCAR. But we're excited to get this thing back rolling. I'll let my other co-host here introduce themselves. We'll start with, you've heard of the Intimidator. We'll call him the Instigator, Mr. Sean Allen.
I am offended right now, but I'm a lifelong NASCAR fan and I'm lifelong offended, so we won't even get into that. But anyway, I'm Sean Allen. Again, you remember me from the first incarnation of the podcast. Really glad to be back. Kind of glad to be back with these guys. I don't know. We'll see. But the one thing they can call me is the man who has whipped them just about every year in NASCAR fantasy since the last time y'all saw us. So anyway, they may call me Instigator. I'm their champion.
I mean, he has a valid point, but that leads us to a nice segue to our other co-host down here, Mr. Michael Sizemore.
That just about in that intro there, doing a whole lot of work. Just about every year. Not this year, because this year, currently in Arson Brothers High, Wide, and Handsome Fantasy Racing, I'm going into the season. We'll be looking for the repeat.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm Size. Also been a lifelong racing fan here. The one Southwest Virginia member of the group here. So, grew up a big fan of all the, Southwest Virginia, East Tennessee, teams like Henderson and especially Morgan McClure. So, always had that connection that brought me into NASCAR and, still digging it. Took a little break, didn't watch for a few years during the first case there. We might talk more about that later, but kind of didn't watch a little bit during all that, but came back strong in the last, 10 or so years and love me some NASCAR. Don't follow a whole lot of the other motorsports. Do enjoy live, racing of any form, any sort, but, still love it. Still love it.
Absolutely. And the new addition around here, Mr. Jeff Griffith. Let's hear from him.
All right. It's Jeff, like you said. I grew up, I watched NASCAR in the 90s, and then I kind of went away. Then I came back a little while in the early 2000s, and once more fell away. And then this third time's the charm. It's really hit me hard, and I've enjoyed so much just falling in to all of the, just going to races with you guys, watching races, being a part of the fantasy league, and de facto rookie of the year, I guess, since I was the only rookie. But I'm still going to claim that. And I'm just this is one of those situations where I'm just happy that I'm learning and I'm enjoying it though. What I lack in knowledge, I make up for in enthusiasm.
There you go. Yeah, we are excited to get this back rolling. Hopefully bigger, better than ever. And that's going to do it for this first segment called the Green Flag. All right, let's get into the lead lap. This segment where we're going to talk all things NASCAR. That's going to be the heart of this show. But we do have other segments that other racing forums near and dear to us along the way. Nonetheless, we have to first talk about the new old revamped point system. The chase is back.
Hey, just like High, Wide, Handsome.
Yeah.
New and revamped and ready to roll.
That's right. We're ready for a new era. NASCAR's ready. And as supposedly their slogan is, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I keep saying that, although I've not saw it officially in things, so I don't know. I think it's more of a mindset.
Attitude.
Yes, is what they're hoping anyway. But yeah, the winning in, it's out. The eliminations through the final 10 races out. It'll be a culmination of the first 26 races, with a little bit different being one stage points this round is going to play a big difference from the the 2010s there or what have you. And then a reset for the 26J, 16 this time. We saw 10 and 12, 13 one year. We won't get into that. But 16 this time.
I've been added to every year already. So,
yeah. That's how he keeps winning that fantasy league. But 16, which is more, and then 10 race a chase type. I mean, essentially the same as a playoff, what have you. I like the term chase better personally. We'll get into that with everybody. I like the seating structure of it as well. The regular season champ, if you will, is going to start with 25 ahead of second and then 10-point increments. So I like that there's a gap. But I like this change. I mean, I don't know if there's a perfect answer to the problem at all. But I like this change. I think it's a nice mix of the old Winston Cup kind of style and the newer style.
Yeah.
It does, arguably at least, cut out some excitement, some drama. Arguably, that's manufactured drama, but let's get into it. Size, what's your thoughts? We'll start with you here.
And I am a huge win and you're in guy. I love the win and you're in aspect that has been in NASCAR in the last few years. Like, winning races is important. Winning races is cool. Winning races is why people watch races. Like, people like us, people who are huge fans, people who are probably listening to this podcast and are going to completely disagree with me. We keep up with things. We keep up with stage points. We keep up with DNFs. We keep up with, lap times, who had the fastest lap. We keep up with all that. But most casual, like your non-hardcore fans, don't. They just turn on a race. They turn on the race to watch cars go real fast and for somebody to win a race. And that needs to still be important, I think. I think you still have to have that importance of winning a race because that's what people want, is people try to win races. But, I mean, I don't think you can have a perfect way, but that's just the one thing that hit me hard is the, losing the winning your in part.
Okay, interesting. So you have no problem up for debate. Say and I know this one hits home for you, so it is personal. But the Wood brothers and Harrison Burton a few years ago, they were like 36 in points, an abysmal season. But you thought
they won a race, and that's what's important. That's what people watch. People watch NASCAR to see people win races.
But do you think now with the 15-point bonus that winning a race is just as important?
It's still important now. I think they've done a good job keeping winning important. It's still, you still want to win the race. It's still going to be very much playoff-wise or chase-wise to your advantage to win race. It's going to, it's not, doesn't mean zilch now. It's not like they completely threw it out the window, but still, I just love that excitement of seeing somebody like Harrison Burton, seeing even Austin Dillon, seeing some of these guys win one race and that's it. Their ticket's punched. They're going. What happens after that happens after that.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say, though, like for Harrison, for example, like even without the win and you're in aspect, I mean, him winning that race was still a really big deal. I mean, and I still feel like he would be like going all out, doing everything he could, to still win that race. Now, I do think that this changes strategy in a lot of ways, right? For some people, it's why I've never been a fan of trying to compare and say, well, if this person, if it were a 36 race championship this year, so-and-so would have won. Well, you can't really do that because the strategy and everything is so different. But I do think for someone like the Harrison example or Austin Dillon, I still think they would still be trying really hard to win those races that they won. Somebody I think that it may be one of the reasons why this is shaking up a little bit is somebody like SVG. I was listening to something the other day that evidently, if this were the playoff format last year, again, I just said it, I think it's impossible to lay one year's system over the others. But if he'd won, what he win last year, 4 or 5 races, if he had done that, in this system, he would have still made it like his 16th or something. To me, that's different than like the Harrison thing. Like, somebody going out and winning a bunch of races is still going to make it. Now, I don't completely disagree with size. I do think winning you're in creates some drama, but at the same time, though, I mean, we still want those 16 teams, in my opinion, who have performed the best over the course of the first, 26 races. Now, for me personally, I'm a proponent of the 36 race championship. Call me Mark Martin. That's what I like. That's what I've always liked. But yeah, there he is. But I know we're probably never going to get to that. So for me personally, I do like this. I was a fan of the chase before. But I'm not nearly as much as down the hill of winning you're in as size is, I don't think.
Wait. Can somebody phone the devil real quick? Because I think hell may have frozen over. Sean just compared himself to a Roush driver.
Hey, it's okay. My streak stands. I wonder what Tim Richmond would think about this.
I feel like Tim Richmond would love the playoffs, actually, for some reason.
I think he'd be a winning the end guy.
Playoffs is a party man's format. If you like the party, you like the playoffs.
All right, now I think it'll be interesting to get your thoughts, Jeff, as someone who really refound their love for passion for NASCAR last year and now a total revamp of the system.
It's very interesting you say that because this year was the year that I feel like dived in the deepest I've ever been, really paying attention to every week, everything. And I will say, as much fun as I had watching this year, I thought the end, like the finale of the playoffs, felt a little empty. And I know that they have, I think they figured out, apparently, Kyle Larson would have won even in this system, right? Am I right? I think I heard that.
I don't know about the actual, with the bonus and all that. I haven't saw that, but he would have won in a straight 36 with the points that were gathered last year. Actually, if it had been straight 36, he won. And then old Winston Cup style points, it would actually been Christopher Bell.
Okay. But what I'll say is, I thought that I liked the win in your end. I thought I liked the playoff idea until I got in the thick of it, and I think I'm going to like the chase a lot more. To be honest with you, I do think it's going to reward consistency more. That bonus on the wins is going to, if you win a few races, you've got that bonus. There's a good chance you're making it into the playoffs. So 16 spots open. That's a little bit less than half the field. If you win a couple races, if you win a race, you're still sitting pretty well as long as you can run halfway decent the rest of the year to make the playoffs, I believe. And I'm excited for it. I think this is a really positive step, and I think it's going to foster a lot of goodwill towards some of the people that have just, like a lot of the older fans that have stuck with it for years that just hate the playoffs. They're getting something closer to what they love. I think that this is a really good step forward for NASCAR and the fandom as far as building bridges back to people that maybe they have lost. And that's speaking for somebody that's just looking from, I was the outside, but now, I've got my feet in the door and I'm kind of in. But that's just what I think.
I will add on to what I was saying. Winning you're in, I only like during your regular season. Like the round of 16, round of 8, round of whatever. I hate that. It should be a points-based system once you get in to your playoff chase finale, whatever you call it there at the end. But I'm just saying regular season. I think winning you're in adds more excitement to it. But as far as playoffs go, I think this system, just looking at a playoff system, is going to be way better.
So you kind of would like a chase system, but with a win and you're in regular season.
Right. Okay. Yeah, winning you're in into a chase system. Because I think once you get to those 16 best drivers or 16 drivers who have been deemed the ones to go for a fight for a championship, I think having it stretched over a period of time where each race matters. Because I think in the regular season, I sometimes look at races as individual events, but then once the, championship fight starts, I look at that more as a singular unit as opposed to individual races within the singular unit. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
It does, but I'll say this. One thing I always dislike so much about winning you're in is it gives nothing for consistency. And that's something that I think, what part of being a strong team isn't just, winning obviously is the number one way, right? If you're winning a lot of races, that's going to lock you into any system NASCAR comes up with. But still, such a big part of racing, big part of the racing I grew up on was when teams were very consistent throughout the year. We in the last few years, we've seen guys top 10 them to death, and still sometimes, not win championships and that sort of thing, or you not be in the top few. And so for me, one thing that I do like though is how consistency sort of matters more again. That's kind of what I grew up on, and one of the things that I always thought was important.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And again, I'm probably more of a Sean. I would like to see a 36. I realize it's not happening. So for me, the chase is probably the closest we're going to get. And I love the chase. The chase years were fun. Obviously, some Jimmy Johnson dominance, but there was some fun stuff along the way. And now looking back at even Jimmy's dominant years, it's kind of fun. It hurt during the time. Just because a little bit of a boring show, arguably, but. And I thought interesting, since the adaptation of the playoffs, and granted this is skewed because TV as a whole is down since then, but the ratings for NASCAR have down like 50% since the actual playoff finale, four finale final, whatever. I'm lost along the way there, but
but I think that has a lot more to do with personality wise what people see in NASCAR now. There's none of those. There's no Dale Jr., there's no Tony Stewart, there's no Dale Sr. You don't have those big personalities. And I think if NASCAR marketing had I'm not going to blame marketing, maybe the drivers themselves, if somebody had built up this larger than life personality, I think the ratings would have been just right along with each other. It wouldn't have been as big of an impact.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the playoffs helped build those brands, though, because look at arguably the last couple, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, they had dominating runs, especially Jimmy, of course, but that are the superheroes, the last of that generation. And there's arguments for everything, of course, but it's all an interesting debate.
Yeah. Speaking of Jimmy Johnson, they bring back the chase, and automatically Jimmy Johnson decides, hey, let me get a car. Let me get one of those championship provisionals.
and you know what's crazy for me as a fan is, and I've always said about the Jimmy Johnson years, and there's reasons why it did hurt NASCAR in some ways too, because people get so tired of seeing the same person win every year. But for me, I've always said it's really cool that we saw history at the same time, and I think that's what Matt's talking about. When you look back on some of that now, it's like, wow, that got pretty, aggravating through it, but then we lived through such a wild time. But now, old man Jimmy, I'd be all in. Like, I would be cheering my butt off for old man Jimmy to do it again. Don't ask me why. That would be me now.
I love old man Jimmy. I hope he has a great run at Daytona. He's going trucking as well this year for the San Diego course. That's cool.
Wow. Let's get him full time in O'Reilly for their chase.
That'd be amazing.
Dale Jr., hit the boy up.
That would be awesome. We'll use that trucking transitions and go into, we obviously know about Ram, and then ultimately will be Dodge's return, I guess. But Ram's return to the Truck Series. That news is old, but they've been dropping some things, and the biggest of which, two biggest. First, we'll start with the reality show, which we all kind of knew went on last year and was recorded, but it's getting ready to start airing. I think the first episode on FS1, and then all of them and the rest on YouTube, which it's cool. But I think this will be fun. They had them all from down at South Boston and various other tracks, from my understanding, testing for the ride. So that's going to be fun. And they also announced in their All-Star truck, which is going to be fun to watch along the way. They're going to announce, other than this Daytona, which is, I guess, a bigger deal, they're announced the driver every Monday before the race, which is pretty cool. But the first one, Tony Stewart, back in NASCAR. being a huge Smoke fan, I really never thought we'd see it. I thought that bridge was totally burned. I guess Dodge has some magic dust they can sprinkle from that NHRA deal, but what do you guys think?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it totally sounds like a thing that Tony would do, right? Because I agree with Matt. I wasn't expecting a NASCAR situation, but at the same time, I mean, he's one of those people who wants to see if he can do it in all different forms and factors and ways. So, I mean, a new yet old, manufacturer coming back in the truck series sounds like the perfect, really weird Tony Stewart thing that he would do to me. So cool.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, man. I was so excited. I know the rumors have been going around for a while, but it was so nice to see that confirmation. I've, just like in the last year, I've been going back and watching so much stuff, and I always liked Tony, but I've become a pretty big Tony Stewart fan in the last year. So just really going back and watching stuff, and just love his drive, man, and just the challenge, just constantly challenging himself. And I mean, if it's got wheels, he'll try to race it, and usually do pretty daggone good at it. So I'm excited, man. I think he's gonna come out and have a killer run in that truck. I really do. I have a feeling.
I think if the trucks can have a killer run, he'll potentially do. It's hard to coming in that first manufacturer, but
from my take on Mr. Smoke, Tony Stewart himself, the man likes two things. One is racing automobiles, and two is money. And I feel like Dodge gave him a chance for both right here. I think they threw a ton of money at him and like, hey man, drive a truck? And he's like, yeah, I like driving stuff, Heck yeah, give me some money. And I'm lost my earbud there, but I'm pumped about it. Yeah, I'm excited to see Tony out there in the trucks. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, I think we'll end up having a few cup drives and bigger names in that truck race, and really all year with updated rules. Guys can run 10 races now.
Yeah,
Besides that's something you have strong feelings about. I know.
I have never been a fan of cup drivers dropping down into the lower series. Hated it. Hate one particular driver extremely well because he has 200 wins. Yeah, when you're racing against like somebody's nephew that's 20 years old. But I don't mind it with the retired guys though, like with Jimmy and Tony and guys like that. It's fine to me, but that guys just don't. You lose the fun of watching these young guys and old guys who never really made it much further. You lose the fun of watching them out there beat and bang for these wins when Rowdy's just going to come out and dominate.
But I don't know though, because if you're one of those young guys, I think tested yourselves against the best there is, like Rowdy Kyle Busch, is a positive at that level. And then I'll tell you too, last year, in both in trucks and in O'Reilly, I'm trying really hard not to say Xfinity, y'all. So hey, I've stuck the landing twice. But there were two drivers in those driver in each of those series that I think could have gave plenty of the Cup stars a run for their money. With wins. So I mean, I think there's something to be said for when those guys go down, if you will, and run those and seeing what those guys can do against them. Because at the end of the day, if you make it to Sunday, you're going to run against a whole field of those guys. So why not give it a little test early on? I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I personally think it helps everything. I think it helps the young drivers. I think it helps the lower series get better views, better attention, better money coming into those. But I do get the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, 5. Cap it at 5. You get 5. You don't need more than 5. What the heck are you doing?
Well, it was 5 last year. You were mad.
Well, yeah, but now I'm more mad.
Well, last year he wanted 3. 3. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like a negotiation, Okay, well, you ain't gonna give me 3, but don't add 5 more. Double it. You just doubled it.
All right. Before we end our NASCAR talk for the week, soon will be the Clash for too long. A couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting. But nonetheless, it'd be remiss if we didn't mention the tragedy of Greg Biffle, his family, and the other members on board. They had the memorial last week there. It was gut wrenching, honestly, to watch. Cletus McFarland really tugged on the strings, which I'm sure a lot of people were feeling it, but it wasn't. They did the big burnout situation in Mooresville, which was awesome. Click blew up the big block limo. But yeah, we just have to mention that it's absolutely terrible tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cletus is a guy that, like, you look at him and, like, most of the time, like, he's a big goofball, big fun idiot. But, watching that memorial and seeing how heartfelt it was, it really, really did, make you see a man who's going through a lot having his friend pass away like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like we have to mention really fast just a little over a year and a half ago, through the flood relief, Greg Biffle came into our region to mine Jeff's home county, really close to where Jeff grew up and close to Matt as well, one county over, and brought a truckload full of supplies to Jolo, West Virginia area, which all is literally the middle of nowhere. Like how he knew that, I don't know, but that just said so much about his character and who he was. And there wasn't a ton of fanfare for this. He just kind of announced, "Hey, we're coming your way," so people know to come get the stuff, and showed up. And I think there was one picture taken that ended up on a church's social media down there. So, outside, Greg Biffle, phenomenal racer. I always think of the 3M16, no matter what, but also just an incredible human doing those kind of things for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, knowing what he did, like you said, Sean, for especially just like an area that we literally was their backyard. Yeah, that was really meaningful, and he didn't do it for any reason other than to help. He wasn't doing it to try to get glory. He was just a good guy. You can just tell. Everything you hear about the guy, it's a huge loss for racing and NASCAR, but it's really just a huge loss for goodwill and humanity. And I hate to see him and his whole family. Just losing that whole family. It's just such a tragedy. Between that and the fire at the Hamlin house, it's been a rough go the past few months for NASCAR.
We lost Michael Nett earlier for that.
Yeah,
well, so much has happened. It gets lost, and that's certainly no offense to anyone, but it's just been a tragic off season in the NASCAR community, and that mixed with the trial, which we're not going to get into, but it's just been it's kind of been a bummer of an off season in a way.
Yeah.
Feel like we're back on a high here though after the chase announcement.
I'm getting ready to pick up.
That's right.
Yeah, I need this season to be a little bit more silly and less sad.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
they're throwing Tony Stewart in the truck.
Yeah, there we go.
And that's kind of silly.
That is kind of silly. I hope I get some really wild people in that truck along the way this year. There's a lot of rumors with Casey Kane. I feel like
Casey Kane's happening, right?
All right, Dodge. Let's see what you can do. Jeremy Mayfield.
Oh my God. I will pop. That would be amazing.
Well, I'm hoping they pull my man Ricky Rudd out.
Whoa. That's no 4, man. He ain't getting near that.
Can't get no Dodge.
Hey, Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott's a Dodge man. He ran SRX a couple of years ago, so he's still ready to go.
Oh, don't talk about SRX. We'll get the boot off of here.
Yeah. No.
Man, truck, we can talk about it.
Oh my goodness. All right, we'll wrap up our NASCAR talk. That has been the lead lap. All right, now it is time for Beyond the Banking, this segment where we're talking about other major racing series that are not NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, IMSA. We're going to save dirt and short tracks for another segment, but this will be where we touch on this thing. And right now, you got to talk about IMSA, as the 24 Hours of Daytona is this weekend. Certainly from the NASCAR side, Connor Zilic returning. He got a win there in the LMP2 class in 2024. Now he's back in the big cars, the top class. That's going to be fun to watch. Also worth noting, AJ Allmendinger will be running in a Meyershank racing car, their return as well. That'll be fun to watch. There's some new technical stuff. They're calling the EVO, the Evolution, updates to the GTP class. I don't know a ton about that, but it is worth mentioning. Aston Martin returning to the 24 as well for the first time in a number of years, from my understanding. But I don't keep up with everything IMSA. If there's a race on, I throw it on. 24 hours of Daytona, I love keeping up with. I've done the full 24 like twice, but it's very hard. The closest I've gotten any recent years is like 16. I'm not probably trying any of that this year, but I will throw it on somewhere and pop in as much as I can. What do you guys? Do you guys keep up with the 24?
Yeah, that's how I do it, Matt, is kind of throw it on and keep up with it when I can. It is a commitment to follow the entire thing. But hey, it's racing at Daytona on the television. So for me, I've got to definitely, check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I love waking up in the middle of the night, coming through, and that's when usually the madness starts, because they're as tired as we are probably, but I love if you can wake up 3 or 4 in the morning, come watch for an hour or two. It's a really good time.
Well, I think it's there's a lot of hype just around Connor Zilic coming in for his rookie year anyway with the Cup Series. And I think this is an opportunity. I think there's going to probably be some more eyes on it than what there usually would be, just because of that, like people knowing he's going to be in it. And like you said, he's won in a different in class of it before, so he may have another good run.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued if he can grab another watch. She's quite good. This is where he came from for NASCAR. Also, we're noting Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, a couple IndyCar guys going to be in the field. Oh, look there.
Man, I love the idea of these endurance races, and I love reading about them. And I love Ford versus Ferrari, but I have never watched more than an hour of Le Mans or Daytona. It's a lot of race. I'll catch up after it's over.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it starts at 1:40 on Saturday, ends the next day, 24 hours later. The golden hour around 6 p.m. is a time that a lot of people like to tune in, and then again around 6, 7 during the sunrise. That's 2 of the most favorite viewing moments on it, just because there's some cool sights. But like I said, that middle of the night stint, it's fun to peep into if you find yourself up late.
The 2 day after 20-minute YouTube recap also is hard to beat.
There you go. That's probably the real answer.
Hey, we got to see IMSA live last year.
Yeah, we did. That's worth mentioning. Yeah, good call. We saw a Mustang Challenge race on the Roval. Charlotte.
It was really cool.
Quite different affair for our usual racing, and cool to see. I would love to go to a full. I'd like to go to the 24 actually one time. You're just in and out. They run packages where you can get in suites and stuff for really not that bad.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've always said I'd like to go down to VIR. It's not super far from us, and check out, they do a 6-hour event there.
Oh, wow.
But that's the main thing for Beyond the Banking this week. Check out the 24. We'll talk about the winners next week. All right, now welcome to the boring segment where we're going to talk about local, regional, dirt tracks, short tracks, anything of that nature. And this first week, we just finished, and we have to talk about it. The Chili Bowl, the 40th annual.
Wow, 40 years! Wow.
Yeah, I know. What an event it was! I watched so much Chili Bowl this week, guys. I missed some of the soup on Saturday, which is I hated, but I was out and about. But other than that, I watched a lot. It was good. Emerson Axum, young man, finally got his first one. I think that kid has potential to do whatever he wants in racing. We'll see where he ends up. He seems like he's might be a dirt kid for life, but I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Did you guys
I would
get
be
to check it
shocked
out?
if we don't see the kid racing somewhere else real soon.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. Did you guys get to peep any of it?
Man, I've lived with such FOMO all week, just like living through your snaps without having that Flow account. Flow, if you're watching this, I would love to have an account like you can set up one so that I could review. I will talk about your content every week. As it stands, I've been keeping up with it through highlight videos and Matt's Snapchat video, and it's been awesome. I hear tell that Jesse Love is still flipping through the air,
Man,
as we speak.
Jesse took a ride. He had
That
it
was
with
massive.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing okay. It sounds like he's going to mostly be okay, but I saw mostly what he said was he hoped to do more dirt racing this year. So
Yeah, I thought that was a positive sign.
yeah. He was fast before that, so it would have been interesting.
Man, it's honestly, I love the Chili Bowl. It's one of my favorite events of the year, but I'm ashamed to say that I just did not get a chance to check out much of it this year. Now, me personally, I missed the MAV TV days because I was one of the 7 people in the world that had MAV TV.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, and I used to watch it on there. Well, if I could stay awake, that's the problem. It feels like it goes so late. But yeah, from what I saw, it looked like it was a fun time, like it is every year. It's probably my favorite, honestly, non-NASCAR race every year. I really enjoy all the things around it because I just think it's such a cool event, and I'm jealous that Matt got to dive in so heavy this year. I'll have to try to catch up next year for sure.
Yeah, super fun. Worth mentioning. Larson was fast. He started on the pole on the A feature and then got tangled up with a lap car and flipped. Like very gracefully, one little flip, but it tore the car up.
Yeah.
And Bell, the other heavy hitter from NASCAR that we thought would be in contention and almost always is, I think he ended up about 8th. Just couldn't really get it going in the main. But you'll have that. But it's cool to see a younger guy like Emerson Axon a huge win over these.
Yeah, it is real cool because, I mean, my primarily NASCAR fans, we see these guys like Larson and Bell, running and stuff, and they're kind of like the ringer, they're kind of the guys, both of them have wins and stuff. And you expect them to go out there and dominate, and seeing just, a young kid be able to, not only compete with these guys, but beat them. I mean, it's pretty awesome. It makes you excited for what's getting ready to happen in the sport,
Yeah.
The future's bright.
So what I'm hearing you say is it's really cool to see younger guys get to compete with the legends and possibly beat them.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It only counts on dirt. Once you start paving stuff, out the window. Only on dirt.
Well, speaking of younger guys, I have to mention that 14-year-old kid that made it through and made it into the A main. It was absolutely incredible. I've already forgot his name. I got it here somewhere. That's awful.
That guy made Connor Zillich look old.
Yeah.
Well, while you're looking that up, Matt, I will bring up, speaking of the young kids, did you guys see Kevin Harvick put Keelan, turn Keelan kind of bump and run him there the other night?
Yes, I did. That was amazing, actually. Those two had a good battle. They've had some good battles, and they really got into it that time. That was fun to watch. Jet Barnes is the kid's name.
Okay.
It's a good racing name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
But yeah, 14 years, second youngest ever to make the A main.
Wow. It's crazy that 14 is the second youngest.
I know. I think it was by like a month or two, but
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get his name out there. I apologize for forgetting it, but yeah, I also want to mention all week during the Flows coverage, NASCAR, Daytona 500 commercials galore. They had people there, obviously some drivers, but they had even the president of Daytona there. Like they were really trying to embrace this grassroots, although I think this one arguably bigger than grassroots, if you will, but nonetheless,
yeah.
Would you say when you saw that it made you say, hell yeah?
I would. Yeah, I would. I thought that was wonderful, and the most we ever saw that by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, that's great. They got to embrace. I mean, that grassroots culture is what's going to be the thing. Digging into that, that's where they're going to find the loyalty starting to come back to them.
It is, and they really need to tap into grassroots, certain dirt series. I don't know. We're starting to see some big numbers from some smaller non-NASCAR events. That's whether they admit it or not, they're paying attention to.
Oh, I think it's like just in the last year, I've noticed seeing some of those numbers and stuff. I'm like, this is a thing that's on the rise.
Yes, well, and speaking of that, High Limit Racing just announced they're going to have 6 races simulcast on FS1 this year.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
wow.
huge.
Love that.
Yeah, it's
Love that.
absolutely huge.
That having that access is the key. Like, I mean, even with just Flow, and only one of the 4 of us have Flow. And Flow, you don't have to sponsor the podcast. You can just like set it up where we can all just use Matt's account. We'll let him pay and just let the rest of us use it for free. But yeah, where Flow, you can go and just watch it like so many local short tracks, dirt tracks, and stuff. And it's stuff like Matt and I have been hanging out at his house of the evening and just pulled it up and just try to find what was live, watch any live racing we could, and that access, even though it is kind of limited with Flow, and but moving to FS1, it only gets bigger. You have to start with something. And having that first point of access is crucial.
What I think another maybe possible component is the dirt show, the reality show. That I mean that's a really good watch too. And we know what Drive to Survive or whatever it was called did for F1. And by far I don't think dirt's had that reach yet, but still I think that's another key component is you get to see the the personalities and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing that's driving dirt as a whole. When people start paying attention, there are some really big personalities, some old school throwback type personalities that you're not kind of getting in NASCAR for whatever reason.
Yep.
They don't have the PR guys all over them that NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth of it, but it is a problem nonetheless that I don't know the answer for, but somebody needs to figure it out.
And hopefully with NASCAR, embracing these, regional and local stuff that they'll see how dedicated the crowds that go to these things are, because these are some rabid crowds like who go to some of these small track stuff, and they say, well, maybe if we want that for our product, we have to learn a little bit from these guys and building those personalities and building that relationship with the fans.
I agree 100%. And such as even the car store, which clearly a lot of NASCAR influence in that, but nonetheless, it's the gains of it over the last few years are just phenomenal. It wouldn't surprise me if they had another FS1 simulcast as well. They got, I think, 1 or maybe 2 last year, but definitely 1.
But they the one All-Star Weekend.
I think it was, at Wilkesboro. They kick off February 21st, so that's just around the corner as well. And some news from our local track here, Princeton Speedway in Princeton, West Virginia. I saw they got I forget the exact, but a bigger late model series coming through a couple times this year.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely got to hit that up.
Yeah, hopefully check with those bigger races and even just some of their weekly events.
Yeah, even the weekly. It's always fun there. It's a great place to go watch a race if you're in southern West Virginia.
Absolutely.
Some of the best racing nights of my year this year was spent out there at that dirt track. Man, I love that track.
Yeah, super fun. And when we go this year, we'll bring you some footage.
Yeah, I get to watch it.
Hopefully, we can fit up some other tracks here in the region as well. Dirt and we got IHRA doing their new short track series. They're going to be down at Motor Mile Speedway reopening. From what I've been gathering, the rules on their series are pretty much old Busch series rules. So that's
sweet, yeah. And an old Busch series track.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love to make it down to that, hopefully. I don't know the longevity of all what the IHRA is doing, but I'm going to have fun with it while I can.
While it lasts.
Exactly.
And then don't we have World of Outlaws coming to Parkersburg?
Yeah, coming back up to West Virginia Motor Speedway, doing a big show there. I'd love to. I've never been to that track. That's a very well-renowned track, not just here, but all over the country know him.
Yeah.
And it's back rolling.
Yeah.
So I'd love to make it there.
Yeah, and talking about the Cars Tour, Dale Jr., who is co-owner and races quite a bit in that series, I think he's going to be at the one in Newport, Tennessee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Down there.
I'm really wanting to try to get to that.
Yeah, down next to where Matt's little vacation place is. So it might be a cool time to pack up and go watch Dale Jr. run in Tennessee a little bit.
And I would love to be able to make it to that. Hopefully you can. It's going to be huge though. People come out when Dale comes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be packed.
I love watching the videos anytime he's at one of the Cars Tour shows, like people just like everywhere trying to get stuff signed from him, like mobbing him.
Yeah.
He brings them out.
Tough. Yeah. Which, Dale has that personality. I'm sure he wants to sign for everybody. And
Yeah.
he's getting swarmed all of a sudden. Like a zombie movie.
Yeah, and I think him coming back to those races is absolutely huge for short track. I mean, obviously, but worth mentioning nonetheless. But that'll wrap up this week's bull ring. We'll hopefully get some more action next week.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll get into the segment we call the Hall of Fame, where we're going to show off halls, but also just stuff from our collection or what have you.
Yep.
I guess I'm going to start this one out this week with something we picked up at Bristol last year, out in the vendor tents looking around, and I saw something that I've always wanted. First off, look at the box. Garfield and Petty.
Yeah.
Grinning and winning. 2002 Garfield Dodge, a Team Caliber 124 scale. Let's get it out of here. Check out the product registration card. Yeah.
Oh,
Man,
Woo.
that's a
That's
beauty.
sweet. It is.
that
It's
is
awesome.
hot.
Grinning and winning. Petty
It's
Enterprise
awesome.
logo on the back. Get off my tail. That's good. Beautiful artwork on the hood. That'd be a
Yeah,
cool.
That's
sport.
awesome.
Probably
That's-
was.
oh, yeah.
At the time. And it has the Honor Series medallion. I don't even know what this is here. Oh, it's an extra side window.
Huh.
Oh, how
cool.
cool.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know why though.
Man, that thing makes me wish I was walking through some tents right now.
I know, right? Yeah, Sides actually pointed this one out to me last year, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't going to let that
I know
pass
you want
by.
that. Yeah. Yeah, two of my ultimate loves, Garfield and Richard Petty. Yeah, really cool piece.
That's
Awesome.
such a cool piece, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll show you some things that we think is cool nonetheless
All right.
on this segment every week. We love a little bit of everything. You never know. You can look around here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to pop us is if you can like find like an old NASCAR and like somehow just manage to throw a cartoon character or something. We're gonna love it.
Yeah, we're eating it up. Eating it up. I love all the old Cartoon Network cars.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's some
And-
here somewhere.
And
Love all
you,
those Muppet Show cars.
Yes. So good.
and you know me, if you can combine NASCAR and wrestling, I'm in. And I'll definitely be showing some stuff like that as we go
Yes.
forward. Yeah.
All
This
right.
man's Steve Grissom's biggest fan.
Yes. All right. Wrap it up. The Hall of Fame. All right. Now that brings us to the cool down lap. It's all over but the crown now, boys. Good fun. Good to knock the rust off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited for this season.
Absolutely.
for
Can't
next
wait till
week.
it gets going. Yeah.
I
I
know.
know.
Pumped about it.
I know. Next week we'll. I'm sure there'll be some NASCAR news come out. There's really stuff
yeah.
coming out every day right now. We touched on the
Yeah.
highlights, but
Absolutely.
of course we'll be just breaking down the 24-hour a little bit. Be curious how Connor does, and Dinger for that matter, and some IndyCars. But yeah, any final
Been fun.
thoughts?
I'll tell you, as we're getting closer to the Clash, I don't know if y'all have seen the weather report for this coming weekend, but I'm wondering if you're going to the Clash, you might want to the next weekend, if the trend carries, you might want to take a coat, a parka, 3 hats. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's looking a little rough in this part of the country, and that's not too far from us. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Winston-Salem in the end of January can get pretty rough.
Yeah.
You know where it doesn't get freezing in the end of January? Southern California.
It's true.
The Clash back out there. Clash at the Coliseum.
I love the first year.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't mind the second year either.
Yeah.
the coldest thing out there was Ice Cube, man.
This is true. All right, we'll be back next week as we prepare for the Daytona 500. I'm excited for that.
Excited.
Yes. Check us out. Hi.wide.handsome on Instagram. Hi Wide and Handsome on Facebook. Hi Wide and Handsome on TikTok. We'll be dropping some stuff there. Check out our parent network, if you will, the Arson Brothers Network. That's where we're hosted on YouTube, and we're on the socials there as well, dropping various videos exploring Appalachia, Arson Brothers Eats, and other things. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Been fun. We'll be back next week.
That's
See
right.
ya.